Yeah, I'm sure you can probably hear me breathing. I'm still setting up the stream. Still got 2 minutes left. I'm really enjoying this accordion music. All right, I think that the Discord link that is inside the Twitch chat works. If not, check it. I'm gonna have to check it. Oh, no, that's correct. No, that's right. Cool. All right, well, shit. It's been easier than it has been recently. A lot easier. We're just kind of like on. It's weird. Well, there's my topic. I want you to see too far behind the scenes. All right. I think we're good. Levels look good, and we won't know about. Because I might have screwed up my Discord. I might have screwed up my Discord audio settings or whatever. So we'll see what happens if we get someone in there. I don't know. I'm ready to throw up my hands and say I don't know. But so far it's looking okay. And I think my announcement probably went out. All right, I'm in the box. That's where I will live. And then anyone who calls in will be in the waiting room. And when I sees you, and if I don't have anyone in the box currently, then I'll bring you into the box. That's how it works. It's pretty simple, pretty easy to understand. Today's another Talk Tuesday. I don't want this to be, talk to the screen thing. Yo. And I don't want this to be talk to the screen either, in case it is. It was. So, as you can see, I already have oh man, I don't know what I did. I did something right. I don't know. I was able to find the a plethora, because I actually took the time to look this time. You see how being prepared helps one to be prepared? Crazy. Well, so anyway, that's what I did. Oh, I wasn't even sitting with my back against the back of the chair, and that is real comfy. I don't do the basic things to ensure my own comfort. It happens. Well, now I'm comfy. I don't think there's really much more to do than to introduce, or to intro, which includes introducing myself. Let's do this right, alright? Let's do this. Yeah, alright. Hello. I'm talking with my hands, and I have to remain consistent, so let's pretend I was always doing this. Finger guns are coming at ya. Hi, I am Goose. Welcome to my stream. Hey, hi, and hello, hi, and how are ya? I'm not like... How do I properly and concisely introduce myself? I'm not a typical debate space type person, but on Talk Tuesdays, we do that. And typically, last couple of weeks, I've been using the titles and tags that I believe work in order to get people to come into debate. That is not necessarily saying that I'm using a foolproof method or that I'm using well-researched method at all. I'm simply using whatever I believe would get me to show up at somebody's on somebody's stream to debate them. That's really just kind of where I'm coming from here. So what I'm hoping is that today, because I made a post about a half an hour ago saying that I was going to start streaming in about a half an hour. I made a Twitter post, I made Threads post, you know, hopefully there is some traction today and we can get someone in here to talk. If not, I have plenty of material to react to. And I think last week I brought this up briefly. I said I kind of wanted to develop a system. All right, maybe that, I don't think this was meant to be buttoned. I think that's supposed to be like, supposed to hang in a casual summertime dude, you know, because it feels a little too tight when you wear it right. In case, I don't know if you've ever wondered anything about guys' fashion, but if you wear a button-up shirt that isn't meant to be tucked in, it's meant to be worn, you know, high up on the neck. And then if you wear, that's if you're standing at correct posture, but which I never do. And then if you're wearing a shirt that is meant to be tucked in, then it can come down a little. As long as the seam here isn't too visible, then you're good to go. It's a little weird bit of random clothing knowledge I have. I got a lot of weird trivia stuff floating around in that brain of mine. I use an antiquated term. It's floating around in the mental Rolodex, but I don't think anybody knows what a Rolodex is anymore, so I've defaulted to Mental Notes app. I think that it connects better with the youth, which to me is anyone under the age of 25, unfortunately. Ouch, I'm old. Whatever, point is, hello, I'm Goose. Today is Talk Tuesdays. The subject is MAGA is a cult, and that means the crowd that claims themselves as the Make America Great Again crowd. I'm willing to talk about the way that I plan to debate. I'll give all the secrets. I'll put all my cards on the table. Very, very easy. Should be an easy win if that's what you're looking to do. I don't personally believe that you should enter a debate thinking, hey, I might be able to win this. It's more of a, an open discussion that allows people to think about these topics a little bit more in depth than they normally would have. My goal overall, if you are watching and you agree with the things that I say, is to give people the tools and ammunition, that's a word, if you didn't know, that they might need in order to combat misinformation at home. And what that means is that even if you don't come into the Discord, or even if you don't come into the channel or the stream or whatever to debate, and you want to hear points that maybe support what you agree with, that's what we're here for too. Feel free to also call in and talk to me about things, ask questions. I'm here as a sounding board, I'm here as a moderator, I'm here as a facilitator to allow you to do whatever growth is necessary for yourself. That being said, I like to keep it pretty casual too. I'm a blue collar guy. I'm not a staunch institutional liberal, I tend to not like labels very much. I think that there's equal amounts of corruption on both sides in different degrees and in different methods of communicating or exploiting those particular tendencies or values or whatever. I try to side on the side of the aisle that doesn't support eliminating people out of existence or kicking people out of the country or hurting people, supporting death, supporting war, things like that. I tend to value life, and I know that there's the argument that can be made for pro-life. I'm willing to discuss that as well. You know, I want to make it very clear that I'm open to the discussion, okay? First and foremost, that's my first priority, is to facilitate the discussion. So if you disagree with anything them dirty liberals might be saying, and you have any questions or you're confused about something, I'm probably the best person that you know, I'm not going to yell at you, I'm not going to call you racist unless you say something racist, as we've learned before. But yeah, I'm here to talk. I'm here to talk. That's what Talk Tuesdays are for. Get it right, Jack. In addition, today we'll also be reacting to some of, you know, miscellaneous MAGA videos. It's gonna be a chill day. It's always really, I guess, kind of a chill day. It's gonna be an even more chill day. It's gonna be an expectedly chill day, a suspensefully chill day. You might think that because it's so chill, that things are gonna go wrong at any moment, and they just may. They just may. I'll drive this booth off a booth. That's from Frasier. They're in a radio booth, by the way. It's not like a phone booth or anything. They're in a radio booth. And one of the characters is having a fantasy, like he's sick. He's like delirious, he's having a fantasy about being in the radio station, and he's gone in while he's sick. Everyone told him not to. And his producer is now saying, I'm gonna drive this booth off a cliff. Like Thelma and Louise. Alright, that's closed. I do that a lot. Alright. So welcome to Talk Tuesdays. If you're not digging this accordion music, then I can't be your friend, because this shit's... within the first 13 minutes, I said a cuss. I gotta get out of the habit. I'm trying. I'm working on it. I'm just trying to make it so that if I ever do get YouTube, like the affiliate or partnership, or whatever they call it nowadays, I'll be able to keep the videos monetized. Even at, like... If I get into the debate space properly, like get a few more debates under my belt, then there's every possibility that vindictive, debate people might try and get my videos like flagged or something, and I just want to remove all possibility of that ever happening. So I'm trying to get into the habit of not doing a cuss too early in my stream. I know that YouTube doesn't really necessarily care that much about profanities, but if they are excessive, or if they're in like the first, I think it's like first 30 seconds. If they're in the first like little beginning part of your video, then it's probably gonna get you age restricted. But other circumstances, not so much. In the middle of the stream, or like to punctuate a moment, as long as it's not hate speech, then you're all good. I mean, you can't say like, you probably can't say the "see you next Tuesday" word. That's probably like, at least in American moderation, it's much more acceptable over there in the UK and in Aussie land. So again, the topic for today is MAGA is a cult, and that, so I feel like that kind of, I don't like the word pigeonholes because that's also an antiquated term, but I feel like that pigeonholes me a little bit into sort of like not a single topic, but a single like group of topics. I really am looking to debate anything controversial that you think you might. And yes, I will fully admit that I'm looking for controversial because I'm hoping to find engagement. I know, like, I think everybody kind of believes this when they first start out doing like YouTube, and granted, I've been doing it for a while, but it's been really spotty, off and on, inconsistent. If I ever give it a good go, I want to try and do this stuff that I know is going to be able to return the engagement that I'm looking for. And that may sometimes mean writing trending waves or writing hashtag waves or whatever. So just be ready for that. Don't, the only reason I say that is because the last time I did this kind of stuff, when I was streaming full time, I was, and by full time I mean I was streaming like 8 to 10 hours a day, 4 to 5 days a week, just, and I would do like special events, like you do like 24-hour stream for charity, you do like and I, granted, I did not have a viewer base, you know, I barely have a viewer base now, and I didn't have really a viewer base back then. It's just kind of been like my experience with live streaming. So I don't expect much, but oh man, what was I saying? See, I always lose my train of thought. I have that ADHD, and if I'm not like regularly consuming things that are state approved, then I lose my train of thought pretty often. But this is why I want to debate too. Like it's all gonna help. It's also gonna help me with like my whatever neurospiciness is going on in there. You know, I have ADHD, but there's got to be other stuff going on. You know, you can't just fix everything with diagnosing something with or as ADHD. You know, you gotta. There's probably more in there. You gotta root it all out. You gotta become a mental plumber and put a snake down the toilet of your mind. Probably not the best analogy to be using at this specific time in this specific place, okay? But that's what I came up with in the moment, you know? It's just, you know, it's, yeah, I gotta do some mental gymnastics. That's what this is all for. And I don't mean gymnastics like bending over backwards to prove something true. I mean gymnastics like exercise my brain. Get back into the real-time thinking mode. Anyway. Yeah, I can't even recall what I was saying. I guess I could record, put the recording up and rewind. What was I was saying like I didn't have a big viewer base. Oh yeah. So, I mean, I know people like don't typically care about that. Oh, the reason why I said, Seth, see there it goes. I have to just trace it back. The reason I said, you know, any of that housekeeping stuff, like, just be aware that I may, you know, I'm gonna use hashtags, I'm gonna use whatever the trending things are. I'm gonna switch the screen just to be, and then I'll be, I'm gonna turn off my camera just for a moment. Like this dude, and I think I've told this story before, but this dude, like, he was like a regular, and I think that he enjoyed watching me because I wasn't, like, I had sponsors, but I wasn't all about like doing ad rolls and like reading stuff. Like I would do the bare minimum that they asked for just to get whatever cash I could. And like I think over time I started to do theme days, which is what today is, you know, today, tomorrow, the next day, they're all theme days. And I kept doing like, oh, Thirsty Thursday, and so I would like drink on stream, and I think that he just like, I don't think that he liked the structure, and so one day he just blew up at me, told me I was like, you know, a scum, like the scum on the bottom of the Twitch, you know, whatever landscape, like I was just trying to catch, like, scrape up people's scraps and get crumbs and stuff like that, and it was all just because I had like a little bit of structure and I was trying to like tag my stuff better. And I was like it made me upset. I think I might still have that in my VODs. You can probably watch it. I had like a little mini meltdown. I like got all silent. And I was like, well, I don't know what you want from me, you know. I was like, if you don't like it, you know, like get the hell out, you know. Like I didn't know what to say. I didn't know where would I, where the heck do I look at my, I just wanted to click on my channel. Oh, there we go. I think it is, no, oh, there we go. No. Yeah, I might have all videos. It might be gone for good. It was, oh no, Mortarman. Yeah. There's me back in, I think, 2015? I think that was? 2014, 10 years ago. 2020, or 2015.
Ah, fuck, apparently he couldn't get branded.
I don't think this was it. From him.
Yeah, I've never even heard of those games, Eduardo, so you're already one step ahead of me.
Okay, this might not be it.
It looks like they, it looks like they,
Wait, do I not have chat replay on this?
Like you can encounter them later. And
Oh, man.
Eliana, what I was saying about the fact that they might, that hero,
Oh,
the dude,
Eliana, I remember
big
Eliana.
bad guy, can't speak English, the big bad dude. Yes!
Yeah, this wasn't it. All right, well, I mean, I was hoping for a chance to see me melting down. Sorry. Give me one moment. I just need to, what do they say? Smangle a bangle. Give me one moment. Cheers, by the way. All right. We're almost entirely geared up now. Geared up and ready to go. I was so enthusiastic about being on time. Maybe that's the degree of nerd that I am, and I'm just gonna accept that, you know? It's a lesser man who would deny his true nature. So, again, if you're just joining, hello. I was saying hi to my dog, not you. Oh, you're gonna go crazy? Gonna try to attack me? Go crazy. Talk to my dog, don't worry. I'm not just talking to myself. Go crazy. Oh, you are shitting. Insane enough. Oh my god. Because it's so hot outside. It's supposed to be like 87 today, I think, and then like, I guess over the afternoon, it's gonna go like, it's gonna be a spike. That's what the weatherman said. It's gonna spike, and then like even into the evening, it's gonna be in the 90s. And I was like, you know what? I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be fine. And I think the weather guy was like, you know, it'll be totally okay. And I was like, hey, so he agrees with me. And he's like, if you have an air conditioner. And I was like, oh, you son of a bee sting. You mother father. Very upsetting. It seemed like he was personally targeting me with his weather predictions. I'm just a lowly dude with dogs. I don't know where I was going with that. I was gonna try and make it seem like I was some innocent party that was being victimized by the weatherman, but I don't know how that would work. So, also just for anyone who typically watches my streams, if you see polls coming up here in the next couple of days to help me refine the content, I would love that. The problem that I'm running into right now is that I would love to share some of my creative ideas, like the fan seasons that I've written for Marvel stuff, or the you know, the pitches that I would have made to, if I had had the chance to make a pitch to Marvel, then this is the pitch I would make. But I don't know, like, I don't know, some of that people might not be into that. Some of that stuff might be a little like, I don't know, childish or dumb, or I don't know. So I'll put a poll out there, and we'll see if there's any interest in just looking into my brain and seeing how my creative process works. I'm happy to do that. But it's, you know, there's part of me that's like, if any of these ideas are like good, then why wouldn't I just like submit them to writing contests or something, you know? And so if that's a thing that I'm considering, then I'd want to like hold them back and not share them. So it's something that I'm struggling with a little bit. I don't want to like, the reason that I'm trying to build a community is because, I don't know, I'm like a nerd, and there's not many nerds, you know, people who like nerdy things. There's not many people like that around where I live, and I work in an industry that is definitely, it's nerd friendly, but it's not nerd adjacent. So it's hard to meet people that play video games or that do live stream stuff. It's weird. It's weird, the microcosm that this community is in, because I'll go and I'll talk to like, or no, I'll like post a reel or something on Instagram, and like my friends in real life, they're kind enough to like the videos, but I don't expect them to tune into the streams. That's not like, it's a weird thing to tell people, isn't it? Like not really to tell people. It's a weird thing to, I don't know. It's such a niche category of hobby that I think people kind of like silently judge, or they prejudge, and they think, oh, well, you must just be in your house all day and like just like do nothing but listen to accordion music and react to videos all day. Sorry, this is like really loud on the monitor for some reason. I don't, if it's blowing out your eardrums, let me know. I guess I can reduce it a little bit more. We can do like, no, like what about 5? Why not 5? Nope, don't mute it. Oh, sorry, we're at 100. I didn't mean to do that. There we go. That might be better. I want to just barely hearable, because I know that some people are like vehemently opposed to accordion music. I don't mind it. I actually like accordions. If I could, I would have one of those Sea of Thieves accordions, like I guess I could learn how to play one. But like a really tattered one that's like specific to that, I guess. Anyway, let's just do this again for the gram. I don't mean for the gram. I just meant in like a special way for the gram, like a metaphor. Like that's like how you call all adhesive bandages band-aids, right? So it's like that. When I say for the gram, I just mean suitable for, suitable for production purposes. Hang on one second. I gotta get myself prettied up here so that I can make another proper intro. I wasn't, a little spoiler alert, I wasn't recording before, so I kind of have to do all that, not all that stuff over again. I just have to do the intro, just so that I can splice it into my whatever long form thing I edit together later on. So bear with me. I want to be presentable, okay? Again, while you're waiting, the topic is MAGA is a cult. If you are a MAGA member and you do not believe that you're a member of a cult, I'm happy to be convinced. Convince me. My strategy is very, very simple. I'll lay it out once I get a chance to do the intro. Just gotta clean off my glasses. They often stay very, very clean, but I'm like really, 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 really fixated on like the dust and stuff that's on there. Like it distracts me, so there's a compulsion, that's a compulsion. What is that? What my relatives used to, that's an ism. I don't think it's ism. That's an osis. I think that's what it was. That's an osis. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to tap the mic there. Saw that it peaked, and I apologize if you're wearing headphones. Things that we will talk about today include the videos that you see on the screen that we're going to react to, but, I have dry mouth, sorry, you probably heard those lip sounds, and that's not pleasant. Gotta hydrate them mouths. Oh, also, I guess I neglected to put that in the description or the title, but if you are religious and you would like to talk to me about God, I'm happy to do that as well. Things I like talking about God-wise are, you know, pretty much MAGA relate, like is MAGA a cult? But also, I don't know, start rattling off some stuff about the Bible. And I'll probably tell you how the Bible endorses slavery. And about how it can be argued it endorses homosexual relations. But it's more the exploitation of slaves, which is pretty mean. Yeah. We can talk about that stuff too. I'm happy to debate about anything, but that's just the topic that I have up today. Especially if I'm in a beggars can't be choosers capacity, which it appears that I am. All right. Check it out. My glasses are now clean. We are now ready to do a proper intro now that I've hit record on the stream. And now that I've optimized the volume so it won't be blaring in the recording, that also is a good thing to have. Here we go. Hello, I am Goose. Hi and hello. This is the third intro that I've done. If you've been in the stream for any length of time, you know that. I think I might have missed a little spot when I was, because it looks like there's a little shadow there. Anywho, I'm Goose. Hi. That's not my real name. But it's the name that I chose for my online persona, and that's, you know, just because that's always kind of been every gamer tag that I've ever made has had some variation of Goose in it. So it's just, this is kind of, you know, it's kind of where we're at. Just evolved over time, and now anyone who knows me online knows me as Goose, and it's kind of like there's a million other Gooses, so it's not original. But it's characteristically me. I am kind of a silly goose. My advertising channel and consulting business are both related to the name Silly Goose, so it kind of makes sense. It all... But then again, that was a product of me having the gamer tags. I was like, I don't know, Goose, whatever. Point is, I'm Goose. Hi, hello, and how are you, and stuff. Today is the fourth Talk Tuesday that we've had with the same theme. The reason being, because the first time I did it, I saw some results, and I think it might have been because I was doing this on TikTok as well. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the secret sauce was to that recipe, but if we're doing Talk Tuesdays and the theme overall kind of always tends to be hovering around the subject matter, I figure why not just kind of fix it. I was thinking of adding a day like Monday and doing like MAGA Mondays maybe. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens in the coming weeks. My schedule's looking to be kind of full, so we'll see what's happening. But in the meantime, today we're doing the same topic again. MAGA is a cult. I'm happy to define terms. What is MAGA? What's a cult? MAGA is pretty simple. Just, you know, make America great again people. The people that put that shit and all there. See, it's after it's after 30 minutes. That's good. I can say 4-letter words now. Shit. They're the ones that put like that AI slop, like Donald Trump supporting stuff, you know, in the shorts feed and whatnot, you know, that kind of people, like people that we're going to see here in the videos today, which I don't have on the screen yet, but they will become apparent in MO, as they say in the UK. Wait, how'd you guys go up there? I think was that pretty sure. So yeah, in terms of debates itself, the links should be in, I believe, both the Twitch, and I tried to make that sound as disgusting as possible. in both the Twitch and the YouTube chats, as well as the posts that I made on both Threads and X. I tried to cover this mug like gravy on rice. Sounds pretty good. With a hamburger patty, even better. Fried egg, even better. That's called a loco moco if you've never been to Hawaii. Obviously, I have been, or else why would I wear this shirt? It makes sense if you don't think about it. So aside from reacting to videos and talking about MAGA stuff, I also would like to talk about Superman. I guess that kind of dovetails a little bit because, you know, there's that whole thing about Superman being an immigrant that MAGA was just having a heart attack over, so. And it still did very well, so fuck yo boycotts. So yeah, I'd like to talk about Superman, sort of my experience. It's been the first time that I've gone and saw a movie in a while at a theater, so kind of like visiting an old friend that you kind of hate now, and you only want to see certain times for certain reasons, which is, you know, opening day at like the first showing, so that I don't have to be near anybody else. And that's kind of how I like to watch my movies now. Although, I also did recently, when my wife and I went to, I think it was Beetlejuice that we saw, but it was at like a fancy theater, where like now they have like, not bars, like some have bars. There's one in Vancouver, Washington, shout out to that one, because that mall, it has like 6 bars in it. I like a good bar. I like to be able to go and like, you know, sit down and decompress while my wife like shops. That's like that's such a you know, sort of a happy wife, happy life moment. And I've heard that term used more often recently by supposedly random people, and what I thought was really cool is that it's like, I think more people kind of care about that sort of shit, you know? It's like, I don't know, kind of cool. Men love their wives. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that would have been uncommon? It's not. Oh man, that makes me sound like such a doom and gloom kind of sort. I would like to. My dog is, if you've never seen her, she is a pointer, pointer something. Pointer. What is she? She's a pointer whippet? Wagging her tail at me. What is Alamo Draft House? Let me look that up. Wait, that's not like a pornography thing. Is it gonna get me? Well, I wouldn't ban myself. By the way, hi Tommy, how's it going? Let me. Oh, is that the one? That was like, aren't they MAGA? Is that? I think like that if they advertise themselves as a. Oh no, sorry, that has nothing to do with this, does it? No. It's like one of those fancy theaters. Sorry, I thought you were asking me about something about the MAGA thing. But no, like, okay, no, the one that, sorry, I was in the middle of saying the one that I wanted to shout out was the one in Vancouver, because they have a bar there that's called, I forget what it's called. It's called like the Mary Sue, or it's called like, oh man, it's like it's a movie term. Also, since you're here, I just wanted to go to, the YouTube creator dashboard and make sure that the delay. So if you were lurking before and you want to go back to lurking, that's fine. But if you can just type something else. Okay, yeah. Seems like there's a bit of a delay. So I'll just leave this chat on. Because on my Stream Elements thing, it I don't know, it pipes me through like freaking Japan or something. It's weird. But so Man, I forget what it was. Let's see, Vancouver Mall Theater Bar. It is called, what's it called? It's called, what's it called? What's it called? Come on, guys. Help me out here. It was called something clever. Oh, MacGuffin. Yeah, MacGuffin's Bar. So it sounds like an Irish pub, but it's a movie term. I thought that was cool. Anyway, the one that I went to was like a Century Theater. So is Alamo? Is that a Century one? I can't immediately see it, and I don't have the patience to look for it. Ah! Well, anyway, this one's like, I'm sure that one has like all the cool like amenities and stuff, but the one that I went to see Beetlejuice when it came out was like the seats were like futuristic. Like they had speakers in them, and they like had this, like they wouldn't, it's not like, it wasn't like the 4D ones that are like, whoa, you know, like a ride, but it was like little sensations, like little, like it would maybe thump your seat if you know, if something was hitting a character in the back, it would like thump your seat, or you know, it would like shoot out mist if there was fog, and you know, whatever. It's just stupid shit, but cool for the kids, you know, they love that shit. But they would also serve you like food, and they bring you like this tray that sets into the cup holder, and like they get you any kind of beer you want. And the cool thing about it is that the way that the seats and the theater are all set up, it's not like dinner theater, like you have to sit at a table or something, but it's essentially like a living room with a very convenient coffee table and a butler, because they check on you like all the time. And there's still like hundreds of people, like I think there's still hundreds of people in the theater. Aren't there like 200 seats in a theater? I don't really remember how many, like in one of those big stadium theaters. Anyway, it's super cool. Very expensive for everything that we had, but very cool. So again, the topic today, as cringe as it may sound, is MAGA is a cult. I'm happy to discuss the reason I think that. I'm happy to discuss my definitions of MAGA and a cult, all that kind of stuff. Happy to do all that. I'm willing to lay out, you know, how I plan to argue ahead of time. So, I mean, it's prime. If you think that there's a way to win in a debate, why don't you take the chance? You're feeling lucky. Because I mean, if you're gonna walk into it thinking that you can win a debate, then you probably will win. What does that say about you? Only God will let you know. Which God? I don't know, because any of them could be real. And you'd never know. Because we don't do that in reality. I wish magic was real. Man, that'd be so cool. I want all magic to be real. Even that, like, the wizard shit, like the dragon, like, wizard shit. You know? Like casting spells with magic wands and, like, staves of something. Staves of lightning or staves of... I don't know. I want to carry around a cool staff. Maybe with, like, a claw on it, you know? A claw, like, gripping a crystal. Yeah? Like you see in those mall ninja stores. One of my buttons was unbuttoned. I had to rebutton it. This is life. Alright, so here's the first video. We'll talk about Superman afterwards. I feel like that's a more, you know, an hour or two into the stream type topic. Let's start with the spicy stuff and then we'll mellow out a little bit. So I hope this is gonna be loud enough to to overshadow this music. It's the music is starting to get a little annoying. Perhaps accordion is not the proper backdrop. Oh, here we go. Jazz accordion, that works so much better. Although this, again, this is like clarinet. It's like electron. I think it's someone's keyboard accordion setting. It's not no good. It's at 5 volume too. Is it just really loud in my ear? Wait, where'd it go? That wasn't even a good breakdown. See, I know jazz. Oh yeah, that was 5%. All right, well, that's as low as it's gonna get. All right, here we go. So, I did this sort of normal formula that you would expect. I looked for hashtag MAGA, I sorted by upload date, and I looked for stuff that I thought might contain MAGA supporting points. I didn't pre-watch the videos. I thought there was a hair on my mic. Nah, just a little tiny one. That would have bothered me. Sorry, fixated. Yeah. So I looked at these that something I thought would be spicy, and I decided, you know, why not just kind of react to them in real time? We'll see. I think because I let this. Yeah, I guess I did watch the whole thing. Well, they're shorts. They're not known for being long, okay? So let's watch this, and then I'll tell you where I was going.
This is not going to be a free ride. It's not going to be some instant amnesty. What's going to happen is
about immigration.
You are going to pay a significant fine. You are going to learn English. You are going to go to the back of the line so that you don't get ahead of somebody who was in Mexico City applying legally. But after you've done these things over a certain period of time, you can earn your citizenship. So that it's not.
So he's making the argument that, you know, even Obama said that immigration, these points. And I guess, so there's, I guess, a few types of people. There are MAGA people who believe the stuff that they say, like who truly believe that immigrants are a threat to America, who truly believe that abortion is murder, truly believe all the things that MAGA people tend to say. Same on the left. There are people who truly believe they're true zealots. And we could argue whether or not those are cult qualities. I believe they are. But I think, you know, if you wanted to do circular arguments, you could say the same thing about the left. I don't know that I would support that notion, but you could. And then there's other people who I think, for whatever reason, they feel trapped and unable to move, and it leads to a couple of different things. It leads to one scenario where you end up getting that sort of like Stockholm syndrome type effect, where you start to incorporate those beliefs into your mind, and you have to rationalize it some way. It's kind of like Christian indoctrination, you know, like when Christians tend to approach people at vulnerable times in their life and you know, offer them support or basically a get out of jail free card for the afterlife anyway. Same shit. Why are you like she rolled out on the, there's not a carpet, it's just the Velcro thing that my carpet sits on, and she's just, she peed on the carpet. Maybe she's apologizing. Yeah, because now she's feeling self-conscious. She got up again, so. Pops, man. So, you know, then there's also the people that are trapped and they try to get, you know, the best out of a bad situation, and that often leads to a lot of repression and acting out in unhealthy ways anyway. So it's a lot of the reason why like feminism exists, because like, you know, people who are oppressed will end up starting a revolution, just kind of like how society works, you know, like the evolution of society. And then there's people who, so like, let me just to summarize, there are people who truly believe this stuff, true zealots, and you know, we can discuss the doctrines later, but true zealots. Second type of people are people who branch off into two other sort of sub things, where either they, you know, they feel trapped because they, for whatever reason, are attached through family or through social groups, or, you know, whatever reason, and they either get that sort of Stockholm syndrome effect where they start incorporating, like they find ways to reason into those values, or they try to fight against it and end up being repressed and acting out because they can't express themselves. Leads to a lot of like shoving into the closet for people who, you know, later might take their own lives because they weren't allowed to live the way that they needed to. And so the third type are the people who you typically see in leadership roles these days, who are, you know, the people in power who make policy, who are either organically corrupted just through a process of, you know, tit for tat, pay for play, yada yada, whatever the buzzwords are, or you have people who start out corrupt and who go into politics in order to change things for the worse for the American people. So those are three types of people, three types of MAGAs. And if you look at this through those different lenses, you can kind of see the contrast. In one way, you can argue that saying that Obama said that there should be immigration standards means that what Trump is saying today is okay, which I don't agree with. In another way, you could say that not only is this guy showing that immigration has been a problem for a long time to those who would argue that, you know, Biden was the one that opened the borders or whatever. Again, not a good position for them to argue from. And then also, he seems to be unaware of what Obama was saying here at the end of the video.
We've got to deal with that at the same time as we deal in a humane fashion with folks who have put down roots here, have become our neighbors, have become our friends. They may have children who are U.S. citizens. That's the kind of
So I don't know if he's shaking his head there because he's in disagreement, or if he posted this because he's in agreement with, or because he's trying to make the point that I mentioned earlier.
It's an approach that we have to take.
So now why is it when Trump says it almost word for word, he's
No.
pure evil?
See? So there's the disconnect. So that's, to answer this guy's question, it's because you have an extreme bias, maybe racism, that prevents you from seeing reality in the way that it's stated there. He said we have to take care of the people at home. Like that, who did this guy think that meant? I don't think he genuinely could have thought that the Obama meant like citizens. No, there's no way. No, because they you know, ended up here, you know, doing their part. Yeah. Well, I don't. He has to have ignored the last 5 seconds of that. So I clicked on the guy's profile to see what his argument might have been. And where is it?
What's up, guys?
So he has this is the thumbnail here, body double. So I figure, you know, wait, who's really in charge? Oh my god. there's a lot of stuff here. So this is where we're going to start. With perhaps a claim that Trump might have been replaced by a body double. Let's find out. It's 15 minutes.
How
Dear
we doing
God.
today? Hope y'all are doing awesome. So, question: what the heck happened to Donald Trump?
I'm sorry? As far as I can see, he hasn't really changed much in the last 40 years, so...
And or where is he?
I'm bearing with you right now, PMP. I'm bearing with you.
What happened to him? Did the deep state replace him with a body double?
Go on.
That's what we're going to talk about today.
All right. Let's hope he lays out some supporting premises.
Stay tuned. This one's going to be fun.
Oh, he's got an intro. I don't have an
So
intro.
there was some conspiracies going around that he wasn't even there, that he's been alive or he's been bedridden, and it's not even him. That it's like a robot. It's been AI, and there's, you know,
What? People see him in real life.
different facial features that you can see, and it's kind of been going around, and you know, and there's been videos. I kind of did a video, but there's been videos around it that kind of show the differences between the two. And I'm not saying that about Trump, but I was just kind of skimming through
All right.
some articles.
So the premise is gone now, or he's going to maybe state a new premise here.
Trying to come up with the video for tonight, and I saw this one, and I was like, huh, that kind of makes a little bit of sense once I started reading the article. But it's from Real Raw News, which is they do a lot of these conspiracies and, you know, stuff like that.
Real raw.
I don't know. I don't really read them a lot. I've got them as my thing where I do read them, but I read the headline: has the deep state replaced Trump with a body double? And I was like, what? Doesn't make any sense. But then lately he's been kind of falling back on some of the things that he ran on and got him voted in.
Oh God.
And that's kind of the thing. And as I started reading it, it kind of made a little bit of sense. And I'm not saying this is true. It's just an article I'm reading, and, you know, from the Real Raw News, you know, take it what you will. Maybe it's just a conspiracy. Nothing's been proven, but and we're going to read that. But it just seems like, you know, as I read the article, it kind of makes a little bit of sense. Guys? How we doing today? I mean, potentially.
Clicked on the wrong video.
Has President Donald J. Trump been abducted or killed and replaced by a deep state body double? Kind of sounds a little far-fetched right off the bat, but
You just gonna read the article?
Trump had even authorized
Just reading the article, huh?
another thing that he ran on that got him voted, and he's usually not one to totally 180 on these kind of things. He's usually one that he sticks to his guns. He doesn't like, but
Oh yeah, he didn't extend the tariff dates 3 times.
Trump ran interference for Bondi when a reporter attending a White House cabinet meeting asked Bondi about Epstein and the memo concluding that the DOJ had no fresh information about the convicted sex offender and his exploits. As Bondi
they just have the
opened her
list that
mouth
they
to
didn't want to
talk,
release.
Trump interjected, "Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy has been talked about for years. I can't believe you're still asking."
Because people want to see the list because they know Donald Trump's on it. How often? That's the question. Who was it? It was what, a 13, 14-year-old girl that had testified? I'm not saying to what or about what it's about. But y'all know what your king's been doing. Anyway, if you're just tuning in, today is Talk Tuesday. Talk Tuesday happens every Tuesday. It makes sense because Tuesday's in the name. Just a little tip for you. I'm gonna try and get much better about doing the old, using the correct tags, using the correct formatting, all that kind of stuff. But we're still in, setup phase for most of this, thing. So just trying to get my ducks in a row, or my geese, I guess. Don't know that that's a thing, but we're gonna make it a thing. All right, get your geese in a row. Gosh darn it. I'm Goose. Today's topic is MAGA is a cult. Again, I know that I say this frequently, but that's what you're kind of supposed to do, so sorry if it's annoying. I apologize. When shit gets up and running, we won't have to worry about that as much, because then, you'll get people calling in, and then it'll be okay, and then we'll be sort of sustainable, and that's, what we're hoping to get to. But, just to go through the rest of it. I am willing to discuss pretty much anything, but I would like to focus today on why y'all think maybe MAGA isn't a cult, and I'm willing to discuss it. I'm willing to give my reasoning for why I think that. And the burden of proof is not necessarily on me because I'm expressing an opinion, but I'm willing to substantiate why I'm saying that, or why I'm willing to have my mind changed. I know that it's like a meme title, but I think if someone were to have a good reason for me to not believe that MAGA is a cult, I'm happy to hear it. I think that would probably change my mind. I have yet to see who I would consider someone that's normal, meaning like status quo, meaning, normal, who also claims to be MAGA. There's always some kind of conspiracy that they buy into. There's always some kind of lie that they swallow. There's always some kind of policy that they support that one could say is not in keeping with being a good member of society. So I'm happy to discuss that. Call-in link is it's a Discord. It's in the chats, I believe. It's on a timer for I haven't seen it in a while, for the Twitch chat, but in the YouTube chat, I believe it should be pinned. So if you click on the link and you say join the server or whatever, it'll go into the waiting room. I will see you in the waiting room, and I will pull you up to the box if there's nobody in the box. Pretty simple. I'm open to have friendly discussions. The point is just to get people in there, and once they get in there, then if you don't really have a point, you can kind of dip out, and then we can just go from there. But it's all about getting that engagement going. All right, getting that positive movement, growth. I don't know, positive something or other. Let's continue. He's not. I want to see his conclusion because he's just reading this article out.
Trump's not isolated like Biden was. He went on.
There's that ongoing thing about Biden hiding in a bunker. Perhaps if you're willing to believe that Trump might have been replaced by a body double, you might also have already previously believed that Biden was replaced by a body double. I mean, I don't even see where these things come from. I think so. There's a lot of these AI news channels that post articles on YouTube and pass them off as like legitimate news, and I think a lot of them are like Indian or Indonesian or something. Anyway, the point is they use like AI avatars, they use AI generated voices, AI generated film, or they use like just B-roll from nothing, and they present something like it's current news or like it's a conspiracy or something like that, and like it's real. And one of those I would assume would have been like Biden's a body double or Trump's a body double. Just like he said, I got this from Real Raw News. This is one of their videos. This is Real Raw News. This is one of their videos. And this is published in 2011, so it's been a while. Right. So I'm not going to play any more than that, but like, why would you get a news article from this? So I think the lesson to take away from that is verify your sources, but do you believe it?
Help that comes our way. Please do not give hard-earned money to sites or channels that copy and paste our intellectual property. We spend countless hours vetting research.
So that's a funny thing. That's like a scammer thing. If you have to say please don't steal our stuff, then I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe you're doing some shady shit. Maybe you're stealing stuff. You know, it's a lot of it's projection. Not accusing anyone, but you see.
Writing. Thank you. Every dollar helps.
You see the parallel there.
Help keep the site active and help support the authors. If you want to contribute to these guys,
are you on the board of Real Raw News? What's going on?
Real Raw News via Give Send Go, and that's their page, not me. I have no affiliation with these guys. I'm just reading their article.
Right
and
there, you go.
Giving them their props. So if you want to support them,
yeah,
cool. There you go. There's their information.
Right.
I'm not trying to steal anything from them. This is Real Raw News. It's their news. I just was thinking about something, trying to come up with a video for tonight, and that's what I came up with.
That's what you came up with.
If you want to support them, cool. Yeah. If you want to support me, just me in general for what I do, there's links below.
Fair enough.
To PayPal. I don't have a Give, Send, Go. I was thinking about opening one of those, but who would donate? Maybe, but anyway, that's the show for tonight.
Hey. All you can ever really hope for is a little bit of recognition for effort that you put into stuff. So what is it? What was this one? Oh, here we go. Yeah, so I was interested to see what else he had to say, and the video is the tolerant left, so you know it's gonna be good.
Y'all are doing fantastic. Today we're going to talk about a Blue City resident vows to keep pro-Trump displays on her home despite the second time shooting at it. The second shooting incident. So her house has been shot at twice because of some pro-Trump displays.
Nothing so far. I'm listening, but I'm feeling like this is probably made up.
That's what we're going to talk about. This is going to be a fun one. Stay tuned.
Oh, he's got a fucking intro, man. I gotta make one of those. I don't know how to make it. I don't.
A Washington State.
I barely know how to work my phone.
Washington State. It's also a blue state. Blue city and a blue state.
What are you suggesting?
There you go. A Washington State woman plans to install a security system rather than pull down her pro-Trump messaging from her windows after her home was struck by bullets over the weekend.
Like, I mean, does anybody really have a monopoly on political violence? I think the right tends to forget that the left includes revolutionaries. Like, what? I mean, Trump is trying to get into disappearing people, and, you know, the people on the left who make bombs are doing that. You know, it's like, are any of those sides more organized than the other? One could argue yes. One runs the country. But the extremism is the point. And, like, I think in argument to whatever he's about to say about the tolerant left is that there's a lot of violence in the world caused by people that can claim anything. They can claim to either, you know, be a representative of some party. They can claim to be a representative of Xenu. You know, I don't think that it's really I don't think that it's fair necessarily to say, oh, there are violent people on both sides, but in the same breath, I would say that there's violence on both sides, and I would say maybe look at the reasoning, perhaps, like why someone might be mad, but also condemn the violence. You know, we as society are in charge of supporting society's functions, and if we don't all abide by some kind of social contract, you know, when we step outside of our door every morning, then society fails, because that's literally what fucking social means. And that means, like, I think with the freedom of speech and religion in place, if you're a member of a group that expresses pro-Nazi ideas, then, I mean, I guess you should be allowed to express that, but see, and I personally have a little bit more of a like a total freedom sort of standpoint. Like, I believe that you should be able to say, if you are a racist, you should be able to admit that you're a race, like use hate speech in real life. And the reason simply being because you should be able to out yourself as a person who should not be included in society. And once you do, because people keep it hidden because they're afraid of, you know, pushback, or in more extreme cases, arrest or ousting from whatever community group that they're in. So I say, you know, make good on the threat of removing somebody from society through them digging their own grave. Let them say whatever they want, you know, express Nazi ideas, wave a Nazi flag. People won't accept them. They won't get jobs. Like, let them do all that themselves. Let them make their own. Once they start, you know, encroaching on others' rights, then yeah, perhaps it's time to do something. But until then, unmask the ICE agents. You know, let them be racists if they support the idea of rounding up quote unquote illegals and, you know, abducting them and not giving them due process. Then, you know, they might as well be able to wear their face out loud and proud. Freedom of expression. And they probably do, you know. Those are the ones that march in the SS parades. You know, it's just, it would be cool to connect the two, you know, so that way people can be like, oh, hey, that's Mike Schmickles. That's that dude that's a, you know, Nazi, like a well-known Nazi. Oh yeah, he's like always waving that flag around, always talking about master race and whatnot. See? Well, we just know not to talk to him now. There you go. Problem solved. Easy peasy. If you want more problems solved, tune in every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 11 to 2 Pacific Standard Time for me, Goose, and my live stream. I thought that was good. And if you like the stuff, please like and subscribe. And I know that people don't do that anymore because I don't do that. And I never did it, but I know people don't do that. Please, if you at all, even if you hate what I'm doing and you may just think that maybe you want to argue with me one day, then still like and subscribe, because that'll keep my channel alive. And if you react or if you engage, that gives me YouTube saying like, all right, that's a good channel. You know, we want YouTube to do that. We want to gain Susan's favor. You know, I can pray to her, but I don't think that's gonna work. We gotta please the algorithm. We gotta tickle it, and then we gotta pickle it. Tickle it and pickle it. I don't know what that meant. Probably could be interpreted to be something gross, so we'll drop that thread. Anyway, tolerant left.
In what she says was a politically motivated attack. Well, of course it was a politically motivated attack.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what the left does. If you show any support for Trump, they'll attack you. They come at you, and these tolerant left, they're so tolerant, aren't they? They just come at you and they just. But anyway, Fox.
Well, what I mean, you can dress it up any way that you want, but I would say that there's really only incidents of violence from the left when people who specifically want to agitate the left go to these events or go to the places where they know that the left is going to be and specifically try to agitate people. Even like there's some like psychology stuff about like old men, like the older they get and like the more confrontational they get, and it's something like like, I think it's T levels. I think it's like your testosterone levels, like how it's all about your balls. It's all about your balls, sort of thing. And they feel like, I think it's like a loss of function. Like they feel like they're missing pieces of themselves because they're getting older and because maybe they're not as strong as they used to be. They don't have the endurance in their lungs that they used to, you know, like, and so they got to assert themselves. They got to reassert themselves. And so that's why you see a lot of, on both sides, you see a lot of old men just yelling at each other and getting into fights and stuff. So I think that it's interesting to say that the left is violent, knowing that it is in specific circumstances, but so is the right. I don't think that we can necessarily say that there's no violence on either side. What we can do is look at the forms of violence and why it happens. I think that if you are a body of legislature that is attempting to remove protections from citizens, one could say that that is like a bad thing, like that would be the bad side. And so if I was to get angry enough at someone on that side and punch them, you would maybe want to know the reason for that. The reason would be because, I don't know, they said something that's like super evil, like trying to legislate people out of existence or taking parents away from kids, or, you know, vice versa. You get what I'm saying? Anything that's inhumane or monstrous. And if you're like in my face about it, I'd probably get in your face about it. And if you physically attack me, I would probably defend myself. And so if asked why I punched that, why did that left person attack that right person? Well, I would say because they were saying some really monstrous and depraved shit. And get in my face about it. I don't really get into fights. The thing is, the older you get, the more you gotta assert yourself. And I think that it encourages a lot of MAGA people, because they're typically older and white and male, to step into situations where they might end up getting into a confrontation. So I don't think that there's, I would say that you'd be very hard pressed to find someone who claimed to be a leftist, like, and had like a record of that, and not just like someone who claimed to be a leftist but had like Nazi propaganda or something like that. I think you'd be hard pressed to find someone who is a leftist who has just randomly committed violence against someone. And I'm down to hear examples. If that's something you want to call in for, please feel free. I'm happy to look at examples. And if they're not isolated incidents, then we've got an epidemic of violence on our hands. Something tells me that's not the case, though.
13 in Seattle reported that a shooting early Sunday morning left several holes in the Ballard area of the city's home of the city.
Do you have dyslexia? I'm pretty good at interpreting what people are trying to say, and that was confusing.
Home's window while damaging a pickup truck parked outside. The woman who prefers to remain nameless, Police Lives Matter, and a rebel flag.
Well, there you go. You don't have to be a leftist to be a black person, and you don't have to be black to hate racism, and you don't have to be black or a leftist to know that the rebel flag is a symbol of support for racism. People can try and justify it all they want, back and forth, up and down, and they do. But that was support of slavery. That was the economic backbone of the South. So, that's a bad start. I could see why that would, even just somebody that's unhinged, like just anybody that's upset about that could just fire a gun into a house. Aren't they in support of firearms? Like, don't they want people to be carrying? Do they just think that people are like... Yes, some of them. So my train of thought is, do they just think that people are just good? Like, that just everybody's good? Like, that's like just their default position? And yeah, some of them, I guess.
The picture and stickers include President Donald Trump, a Confederate flag, and a sticker
another
that
flag.
Police Lives Matter. And a red pickup with a flag was also damaged when 2 windows were shattered in the shooting. You know, there's certain other states that if that would have happened to, bullets would have been coming back at you. I'm just saying. I'm not saying I would do that, but some states, you do that and bullets are coming at you. Because to me, that's... Because it says me, that's an act of violence and putting mine or my family's life at danger. You could have killed.
Interesting. So now we're going back on the ideals of Make America Great Again. Watch, listen to this.
Been coming back at you. I'm just... The picture and stickers include President Donald Trump, a Confederate flag. Windows were... Bullets would have been coming back at you.
So first, the righteous indignation. I like indignance, though. That righteous indignance. So first, the righteous indignation. And... then, you know, since he's an older guy, he's got to claim that, oh, you know, I would have been, but then like bullets would have been flying, but then he has to, you know, make sure to qualify that by, you know, by YouTube standards and say like, not saying that I would have done that, but you know, that's what he meant. So a little display of insecurity there and glorification of violence, which you could still,
I'm just
if
saying,
you wanted to, you could still report him for it.
Some states, you do that and bullets are coming at you because that.
And then some weird like reasoning to this mistake this speech mistake that he made, little brain hiccup. And now he's talking about in some states. What are you talking about? Washington is redneck country. Have you like perhaps he's just never been to the PNW. But like outside of the cities, you're in your country. You're in like, you would love that territory. I mean, the eastern side of Washington, like the eastern half of the state wants to secede and join Idaho. And that is a movement that has some serious traction. So, some states, what are you talking about? Good sir.
Because it says me, that's an act
Someone
of
doesn't know what he's saying.
And putting mine or my family's life at danger.
Yes, shooting is an act of violence. Correct. Okay. And I mean, let's hear some more, I guess.
You could have killed one of my family members.
No
What's
shit.
up, guys? Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to jump on real quick and do a quick shout out to the sponsors of this video, which...
Oh, you've got sponsors? Got an intro? You've got sponsors? What? You know, I guess, you know, people must like what he's saying. Is it real raw news?
The subscribers to this channel, because without the subscribers, this channel's nothing, and we're growing. We're growing slowly, but we're growing.
Oh, there you go.
Is 8,000. If you want to go ahead and subscribe, that would be...
His sponsors are the viewers.
Back to your show. I mean, I would be... That's basic. That could be attempted murder, technically.
The shock is palpable. Shocked. that somebody could have done such a horrible, horrible thing.
I mean, what if one of my family members was in that line of fire?
Yeah. Can't you guys empathize?
But the problem is, the left don't care. They just
Yeah.
they
The
don't
left
care.
don't care.
I mean,
They don't care
burning down
about preserving
Teslas
life.
because of they're violent. They're so violent, and so vicious, and they claim that Trump supporters, that MAGA are the ones dividing the country and the ones that are all hateful.
I mean, well, I didn't mean to. I mean, it's pretty simple to just kind of boil that down. I mean, we're not. So the left, right, doesn't tend to single out groups of people. The left tends to incorporate the groups of the people. And when people say that the left is racist, what they're actually doing is giving other people a voice. And it's a brain fart that the right tends to disconnect those things because they don't remember history. Or at least they choose to happily forget history. It's a selective memory of history, if you will. And if we viewed things in a vacuum, like if America didn't have a history of slavery, if we didn't have a history of slavery as just humans in general, then we could look at things in a vacuum and say, like, well, of course we wouldn't need laws against slavery because that just doesn't happen. You know, when it's still happening in prisons, and if we were to perhaps require leadership who legislate things to divest from businesses and monitor that, perhaps maybe the majority of prisons wouldn't be privately owned, and maybe we would be able to have some say in whether or not we have slaves in America still. They may not be racially based, but which population is in prison disproportionately higher than most? Blacks. Whoopsie. We monetize slavery. Whoopsie. Now the government owns slaves. What can you do? You know, now it's just baked into our economic system, and that's a kind of hard one to just get rid of, you know, especially for morality, you know, especially since most people on the right think that people on the left don't have any morality. Why would we want to make sure that people are free and have agency? Because you don't have any morality anyway, you know? What are you going to do? You're just going to, like, trans kids? You're going to go trans my kids or something? Is what they're all thinking, pretty much, yeah. I'm assuming. If I know the mind of a MAGA. Topic today is MAGA is a cult. If you are a MAGA, you're in a cult. Happy to explain why. I'm happy to lay my argument all out on the table. Very, very simple. I'll even do it right now. Right? Just to show you that I'm trying to think of one of those 20s detective terms. That I'm on the level. I'll show you that I'm on the level. I'll lay all my cards on the table, and you can take a look at them. You can put some back. You can exchange them. Well, that would mean, no. That's not a good analogy. You get what I mean. But I want to get through this video first.
We're not the hateful ones. We're not the ones out destroying property, shooting.
One could argue that hate comes in many forms. And if we look at the radicalization of the youth in Palestine and the rise of Hamas and groups like ISIS, we can see that hate can sometimes be viewed as righteous, especially by those that are expressing it, but it is rarely in our society in America it rarely comes out as outward or overt anger or fury like it does elsewhere, because we haven't experienced a lot of that turmoil. What we've experienced is brain wars. It's all about culture. It's all about what's happening in society. And the wars are typically led by the people that we revere and respect, whoever they may be, whether you obsess over a certain celebrity, or whether you're a fan of Bernie, or whether you're a fan of Trump. It's rare to see someone openly hating somebody else. I think if you've ever had like an old grandma who, like, from the my family's from the South, so I've definitely heard it. If you've ever had like an old grandma who's like, God, I hate them blanks, and kind of been like, whoa, grandmama, hey, insert whatever epithet of the group that, you happen to belong to, and she would definitely say it. God, I hate those. Or she would say, like, other sort of like blatant societal stereotypes. She was a interesting woman. And I think that you have to look at the type of hate. Again, if you look just below the surface of something, you might find the meaning inside of whatever argument that it is that you're hearing. So for those, again, just to remind you, if you were lurking or if you just joined, the reason I'm doing this kind of stuff isn't because I'm trying to like win an argument in the debate space. What I would like to do is just give anyone who needs help, the tools that they need in order to stop the spread of misinformation or disinformation. Really, that's it. I said that's it really quickly because I had to burp, but that's it. I am here to either help or hurt whatever cause it is that you think might be important. So if you got a shitty view, call in, let's talk. Waiting room is empty, as it has been the last 3 times we've had Talk Tuesday, but that's fine. I'm a patient guy. I'm willing to, I was going to use like a blasphemous term, but I don't know if I know the right one. All right, well, let's get through this tolerant left discussion.
Bullets through people's windows.
He's still in righteous indignation mode, so
Just
bear with him.
There's a police.
He had to display his masculinity too.
When was the last time you heard of a Republican doing that?
I'm sorry? A Republican murdering some? Oh, no, attempted murder. Well, they can get it done, typically. Let's see. Let's just see if something comes up with that. Trump supporter murders. Anti-fascist activist. Homicide. Oh, strong supporter of Trump charges politically. Yeah, there's there you go. That was the one I was looking for. So yeah, they usually get them done. They complete the job. If you want to be conspiratorial about it. But one could argue that the questionable circumstances of the unaliving of some policymakers raises some eyebrows in my brain? Eyebrows in my brain. That's right.
I know I'm going to get those. Well, what about January 6th? Well, what about January 6th? That's one incident. One.
I mean, tens of thousands of people? What was it, 800 detainees or something? How many? I think there was a count. They had like free the whatever, however many people it was. But it's not just Jan 6th. I mean, if you're talking about shots over the bow, you can get metaphorical if you want, but I mean, fuck, man, like there's all kinds of just hate, wanting to get rid of people, wanting people out of the country, just blatant racism, otherism, man. Like, the right doesn't hate.
And yeah, there was some bad apples.
Not
but that
outwardly.
was mostly peaceful.
Get the oh my
There
god.
was some bad apples there. I'm not gonna deny it. There was some bad apples in that crowd, but that doesn't necessarily say that all of MAGA was involved in that. That just makes. I mean, it's just like with stories like this that.
But if you support they started calling them prisoners of war. If you support that, the plight of the MAGA prisoners, then do you not also support what they did or attempted to do? One could argue, yes.
That doesn't
And
mean
one
all
would
of the
be
people
right.
on the left are bad, but you hear about it a lot more than you do coming from the conservative side, the MAGA side. You don't hear about it.
Like, it's self-admitted. It's self-admitted that the right is more violent than the left, which I still don't really agree with. I know that you guys have a lot more people who claim to be more violent, but the left has all the guns. Like, you guys, like, the richest people in the country support whatever way society's leaning. And trends that have gone over hundreds of years show that acceptance and equity in society have been the most successful methods for moving civilization forward. And so if you're a rich person, you have a dozen financial advisors all telling you that you need to go the way the wind's blowing, it's always going to be, it may blow conservative for a little bit, but it will blow right back into progression lane. That was good. Good real-time writing. Good brain writing. It's good. Right back into progression lane, and it stays there for a very long time. So if imagine that I'm a rich person, even if I'm dumb as rocks, like most of them, even if I had never had to worry about working a day in my life, never had to pay attention to school, my just parents bailed me out of everything, I would still probably want to listen to, like, I would still feel like I wanted to listen to my financial advisors, at least the people who would help me amass my fortune, my family's fortune, or whatever along the way. I'd probably listen to them. So ipso facto, if you go to the end of that from A to Z, it's very clear that the most widely supported policies for society tend to be more progressive, and therefore the people that have the most money tend to belong more on the left side, even though their economics may not reflect that, or their policies may not reflect that, or even their lobbies may not reflect that. It's still going to align with the left, right? What was that? You guys okay? Kiki. The other one was climbing up onto the, she like melts onto things. I don't know if that's a good way to describe that. She like goes like she puts her head onto something first and then like reverse drags her, like she shoves her head, and like her neck's always at like a weird angle, like she shoves her head in. She didn't like that I was talking about her. Or that was a fart. Oh man, she farts all the time. It's healthy though. We got the full clean bill of health. She's healthy. She's just a farting dog. She's a dog that likes to fart. Also, if you think about it, and I know that this is kind of an aside, not really related to what the video is saying, but if you think about it, I think it's kind of like common for people who are MAGA to like hate either themselves or their immediate families. Like the people, like I think that there's a lot more like familial drama. You can relate to her farting a lot. Hey man, some of us are tutors. Some of us are rooters and some of us are tutors. I don't know what a rooter is, so I guess that must mean I'm a tutor. Not like tutor like the English dynasty. I recently started taking fiber, and that actually turned me into less of a tutor. But the reason, and I think I don't know how old you are, Cynical, but if I had started taking fiber earlier, I would be at like 60% less of a risk for shit like colon cancer, which I just was reading. I was reading something that my doctor had forwarded me, and it basically says, like, when you're 30, start taking fiber supplements. Like the second you hit 30, start taking fiber supplements. And I started maybe, I don't know, a couple years ago, I guess. Just getting like the bulk, whatever things from Costco. Psyllium fiber capsules. But apparently, I didn't know this at the time, but I know now. Like, it's just kind of necessary that you supplement your fiber as you get older. I thought that it was like something that you did if you had a problem, and not something that you just are supposed to do. But apparently that's a thing. I'm willing to debate about that. I'm kidding. That isn't really. I don't know what position I would take. I'm against colon health. Yeah, I never knew that. I never knew that. I didn't know that was like a necessary thing. Apparently mushrooms are like one of the greatest, like, because they're made of chitin, like they're the best, like, or chitinous material. They're like one of the best things for fiber aside from beans. That's the psyllium, or like a wheat germ, like an outer husk or something. It's like you can line earthworm beds with it, which actually makes it sound pretty gross. Yeah, it's from a plant, but it doesn't really. Psyllium plant. Might have to just. Oh, it's like yeah, horse flower. I don't know what that is where we are, or where I am. But yeah, it's like a chitinous material. But yeah, mushrooms are apparently really high in that psyllium fiber stuff, just not in the husk form, I guess, because you can get two different types. You can get like the wheat one or the mushroom one.
As much.
I mean, apparently colon health is really important, and men need to know. Gosh darn it. Well, it's the, I only say men need to know because that's the, it's like good for your, like, men have a higher, like, colon cancer rate or something. I don't know. I think it was specific to men, but it might be all around. Might be everything in between. All folks of all shapes and different sizes and stuff. Gender expressions. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what it like holds on to, in your body. Like if it's I don't know. All I know is it helps. And I think I was feeling like tired and just like run down. And then I started taking fiber, and I don't know. It was the same year that I started taking Adderall too. And that, like, not only was it a mental boost, and I was getting off antidepressants. So not only was it a mental boost, but it was also like waking up, and then it was like not feeling like I wanted to like lay down all the time. Constant headaches and shit. Like, ugh. It was bad. And I had stopped drinking for like a year and a half. I'm still like not really drinking that much. Get my water, I'll be right back. Another idea I just had was this. Oh yeah, that was what I had heard. something about cholesterol or blood pressure. Yeah. And I knew that I was at risk for hypertension, so yeah. So I done needed it. But I also nope, not seen. Add. I remember not reading. Why do I keep saying that? I remember that you can add text to the OBS thingamabob. What's a good font? I don't really know fonts. Helvetica? Call in to debate. And then I'll put that on like wraparound. I need the link again. Nope, that's not it. Jabingabam. True. So I'm adding some text. And I'm gonna see if I can make it scroll. That might be under transform. Alright. I have dry mouth. That's what the water's for. And we'll make it a color that is pleasing to look at. / not going to get lost in the sauce. Alignment will be center. Vertical alignment, center. I think that's good. Background color, nope, that's not what I wanted. Oh darn. Oh darn. Is that? I don't want it that big. Okay. That's like huge. Get down there. Get down in size there. Listen to me now. There we go. Then I can put that. Right? You can see that, right? Now I can either leave it there, or I think I can make it scroll, right? Filters. No. Oh, yeah. Scroll. Ba ba boom. Ba ba da ba 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 ba. Ba ba da bum. And then that means that I can do not that. I can do not that. I can do not that. Oh crap. No! Damn it. That's fine. At least it's scrolling. That's all that matters right now. Can you guys see? I think you can see this when I'm messing around with it. Otherwise it just is me reacting to just nothing. Which I'm cool with. But that's not the goal. Alright, so I need to just extend this. Oh, okay, limit width. Oh. Let me put what's the size of? Nope. Why do you do this? Why do you do this to me? What is the size of my screen? What is this? Doesn't even say. Give me the damn dimensions. Display settings. Where would I find my resolution? Personalize. Nope. Oh. computer. I don't know how to use my computer. Where would it say that? About? No. Okay. You know what? Screw you. Screw you. Let's just guess. All right. Nope. 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 Okay, so that's not apparently what I'm dealing with. Oh, what I could do. Why don't we just jury rig this in this wise? Where's the properties? Whoop. There we go. Now you're getting it. Now you're getting it. I can probably reduce that a little bit. Okay, now it's scrolling too slowly. That works. Although now that I think about it, that text might be a little dumb because you can't click on that. So, I might just want to not be stupid for a moment. Call into debate Discord. Link is in the chat. I had a cough. Please like and sub for more. That works, right? Call into debate. Discord link is in the chat. Please like and sub for more. And then a healthy space, a healthy pause. Yep. There you go. See? Now you're getting it.
I know, I get it. The people from the shooter from Minnesota killed that lawmaker. He was a MAGA. He was registered Republican. Well, if you're saying a lot of stuff. Story, he was registered Republican years and years and years ago, back in the early 2000s. And he was appointed by Tim Walz. So
how is that an argument? How is that anybody's argument? Doesn't matter if Tim Walz appointed him. Like, people can appoint people from other political parties. That's not against the rules. What keeps you guys from working with people on the other side of the aisle is the fact that you are in a fucking cult. Whereas Democratic lawmakers can hire a Republican for something, or appoint a Republican for something. It doesn't matter. What matters is their ability to do the job. And apparently this guy's really good at murdering lawmakers. So, well, apparently he's bad at it. He's not too good at it. He didn't kill the second pair, I guess.
Believe what you want. I don't know.
Whichever one.
You believe whatever you want to believe, but...
Nice. So, display of manlyhood here, throwing up his hands and saying, and passing the buck here. Cool.
It is what it is. I mean,
yeah.
Fox News Digital has reached out to Seattle Police Department for information about the shooting. Fox 13.
Nobody got hit. Nobody got hurt. And yet, 80 immigrants died in recent days in ICE facilities. Sweet. Super cool, society. Super cool.
Spoke to homeowner who said this was the second time in 2 years that her house had been targeted. The first time the house was shot up on New Year's Eve heading into 2024. During that shooting, she told the station a bullet flew into a cabinet. The shutters were closed when
they're flying rebel flags. So it's not just like one group that doesn't like that. It's like everybody who doesn't fly rebel
The
flags.
house was shot on Sunday, and the homeowner said it may have helped stop some of the impact from the bullets. Once the bullets were done flying, the woman said she looked outside and allegedly saw a man walking across the street, the station reported. Despite being the second time the house was shot at, the homeowner said she does not plan to take down the political statements. Instead, she noted she plans to have security cameras installed. Should have had those cameras up already, technically.
Stupid women, right? You know? Can't even put up security cameras when they put up racist flags. Come on. This man has 7.43 thousand subscribers.
A Wednesday video, a Why We Carry Wednesday video, because it's like if you go to
Horrifying
Texas
violence?
or Florida and try that, yeah, that's basically a declaration of war, and bullets are flying, bullets are coming right back at you. I mean, but it is what it is. But these liberals, they just think that, I don't know, they're just nuts. They're just psycho. But
A little bit of ableism
and
there
again,
too.
that's not all of you on the left. I know there's some of you that are actually decent people.
Some. So the majority.
I've debated some of you, and some of you are actually good people, but the majority of
Oh, yeah, there you go. It's just like, with Mexicans, there's a few bad apples, but there's a few that come over and do it the right way, but the majority of them are criminals. They gotta be gone. Just like, gay people. There's a couple of them, they're fine. They keep their stuff behind closed doors. They don't trans my kids. The rest of them, majority. So when he says majority, it's he's just, being
left are
being a MAGA.
they're just nuts, and they claim us to be the racist and us to be the Nazis and us to be the ones that are dividing the country and all that.
True, yes, that is correct. That is the case. We don't try to say, or we're not trying to bring back segregation, like we don't lean on Jim Crow laws, and we don't try to, we don't have people on our side who are trying to suggest that NASA was started by cultists. We don't have people on our side who are trying to suggest that, there's some conspiracy to turn the frogs gay. I that's trotting out an old meme, but we don't really. When somebody resorts to political violence, which this likely was not, again, plenty of people dislike racism. Not exclusive to one party. It's weird that you kind of like section it off, but wouldn't that mean that we're the good guys? Stop barking. Hey. Come on. That is not friendly to people who are on earphones. Earbuds. Whatever they call these days. That's right, I'm old. I embrace it. Mostly.
But how many times have you heard people on the right say death to the Jews?
Well, I just heard you say it right now. I don't know if that's a dog whistle, but certainly been hearing a lot of death to Hamas talk. Certainly. And just like with Mexico, the right tends to conflate everyone with everyone bad. So, to them, the only people that live in Palestine are Hamas. The only people that live in Mexico are cartel, terrorists, whatever the buzzwords are. Fentanyl, traffickers, whatever. So, it's unnerving that there's this much disconnect. This is, again, very cultish behavior. But let's move on. So this may not seem related. However, you may notice the tags. That's pretty much all that is. So I was like, okay, maybe he's just trying to like ride the algorithm wave. I don't know that I'm saying that correctly, so don't debate me on that. By the way, if you didn't notice from this now scrolling text, I'm willing to debate on the title of the video. This is not just clickbait. If you would like, please click the link in the chat on either Twitch or YouTube, and you'll join the waiting room. There is nobody in the waiting room, so you won't be waiting for long. If you disagree that MAGA is a cult, and you are willing to convince me, I'm happy to hear it. Join us. Join us. Join us. Join us. Join us. So, the bodybuilder guy. He's got a bit of a channel. Pretty into Metalocalypse, or Death Clock, and Behemoth after the burial. Didn't know that there were MAGA metal guys. You know? Or Pokemon? So he's a MAGA metal weeb. Is that what's happening? Oh yeah. Oh aye. So oh, even that's the, oh, I didn't see the banner before. Well, here we are. All right, so you may have a less negative impression now that you've seen some more endearing things, but that's about to change. I won't let the whole thing play. I'm gonna use the restroom real quick.
So who else is highly suspicious or has been highly suspicious? Obama is still somehow in a great deal of control. He's in some sort of wild position to where he can have Hawaii exempt him from certain natural laws or laws to protect the natural order in Hawaii per se. To have a $22 million mansion built on the beachfront, and then his wife comes out at the DNC and makes claims of generational wealth. That sounds like the Soviet Union, if you ask me.
It's funny, I was gonna listen to him while I was in.
We're in for a world of hurt either way we go.
I was gonna listen to him while I was in the restroom, like I was gonna keep my earbud on, but I forgot to do that. How about the whole McDonald's pulling out of Chicago thing that people are talking about? Well, I have my own little, it's not even really a conspiracy theory. I have my own little spoiler about, you know, why corporations make big moves like that, but let me look at it. Is that this? Closing tons of stores and haven't made a statement as to the reasons. Financial reasons. Tariffs are killing their businesses. Or business. Nah, no, see, that's a common Republican talking point. Chicago is the, like, hub of a lot of the justification for the right for violence against black people. They say like, oh, well, you know, what about Chicago? What about? It's always what about? What about Chicago? Chicago's full of crime, you know, there's, what was it? The increase in dangerous gun-related deaths is up like 150% or something like that. And corporations are way more than willing to cite crime as the reason why they are failing financially. When you work at the high, like the level that they're I guess, like when you're working at boardroom levels, you have to make things look as good to the shareholders as possible, right? So it kind of makes sense that you would want to pass the responsibility of why your businesses are failing on to somebody else. And if there's a certain party in power that you don't want to piss off because your lobbyists rely on their votes to get laws passed in their favor, you probably aren't going to try and blame tariffs. You're probably going to try and blame somebody that can't fight back against the accusation. Same thing happened in Portland. They had like, it was like Walmart closed a bunch of stores during the pandemic. Like all the corporations were losing money during the pandemic, and Kmart, Target, all like everywhere, they all lost, like department stores lost a bunch of stores, and a lot of them in the years since couldn't recover financially, and they're trying to get new rounds of funding. This happens every quarter. That's why you hear for 2 weeks that like a store, a store was robbed, or there's people were arrested in a mass shopping sting, shopping theft sting. Like you hear that on the news, and it's like for 2 weeks, and it's usually every 8 weeks that it happens. So, you wait 6 weeks, and then there's 2 weeks of stories. You wait 6 weeks, 2 weeks of stories, because that's when the period ends, and you have to justify your finances to your shareholders, or you have like a dividend meeting or whatever. So you have to present a front of stability and upward growth, and what that tends to result in is overexpansion, because they have to justify the numbers increasing, but because they put the money in their own pockets, they have to also justify the money going down by opening cheap as shit shops in areas that are underserved, to prop up their social work, whatever, like McDonald's has this huge neighborhood program to get their big tax write-off, but also B, because if they need to shut down because their finances are in the tank because of tariffs and they don't want to piss off Trump, they can blame it on crime because they happen to be in an area where crime is at a high or whatever. And that it sounds evil. It makes them sound like they're intentionally banking on society becoming ultimately corruptible. But that's capitalism. You cannot get rich unless somebody else is poor. Like, what are we doing if we're not always trying to be better, not better, but be more financially stable than we were before, which means you have to, in market terms, you have to hold something over somebody else. You have to have a value of something higher than something else, meaning like you have to appreciate somehow. And then the pushback is also where engagement comes from. So it increases their advertising revenue, which is insane. You shouldn't be making money from advertising, which this dovetails into another one of my old man points that I would love to rant about for a bit. The right often likes to argue that well, I lost it, so maybe I won't rant about it for a bit. What was I saying? It was about McDonald's. I just gotta trace it back. Because I saw you saying hedging bets, and then I was like, yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. Well, I guess no rant from me. Yeah, that's a really common thing, especially Chicago as like the hub of this sort of talking point, just because Chicago experiences a lot of, it's like literally like in the middle of the country. Almost, it's nearly in the middle of the country. Like, of course, it's a major, one of the first and biggest major hubs of commerce through our entire society. If you look at the history of Chicago, you're looking at a pretty rich tapestry that you're not going to see in most other places. Even like places that have surpassed Chicago in like modernization, even like Chicago's got a richer tapestry than those other places. So, you know, I don't know. It's a weird point for people to make, sort of off kilter.
If President Trump does get back into office, you know, he has so many uphill battles. It's just ridiculous. Google got sued and lost 2.5 weeks ago, $7.1 billion for ad suppression for pertaining to the Republican Party and everything in 2020, and they're still doing it. You look up abortion bans, and it'll show you a map of all the states that are banned abortion, and they're all colored in red. When in fact, no state has banned abortion. There is a 8-week or 12-week deadline. After 8 weeks, the heartbeat bill, 12 weeks heartbeat bill, which makes sense. Wisconsin and another state have completely cut out abortion, but it's being fought. You know, they're just not practicing it. I mean, if you're gonna be irresponsible, then live with those consequences. People feel the need to say they have baby fever.
With robust, well, come on, pause it. With robust social programs that can help once the kid's born? Something tells me no, but
that's
one
as far
can
as
help.
it goes. And then, you know, there's a lot of mothers that are unfortunate. Things happen.
Oh, ectopic pregnancies and deaths
ever wishes
during delivery.
On people.
So he'd rather the woman die.
So in extreme circumstances, I completely understand, but from another logical standpoint, wouldn't you take the time to consider this could be a miracle from God?
Not if you don't believe in God. Not if you don't believe in God.
But like I said, in extreme circumstances,
pretty simple.
You never know.
Not everybody believes in God. Most people don't believe in your God.
I don't know.
I bet you anything, he's like trying to hide his face because he doesn't want people to see that he's recording a vlog in his car. He did make sure, because he had the attention to detail to make sure that he had the American flag in the background.
For the Bears, Caleb Williams will show his true woke colors by week 5, and Bajent will come in there and dominate. But
that's all gibberish to me.
Quite a while ago, right before the true sabotage of Mitch Trubisky began.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
The Archangel, right? I'll cast out that evil real quick.
So this is the guy that was posing.
Ranting, you know, what are you going to
do? The bodybuilder thing.
Then you need to think of the country you live in is able to somehow stay in office for another 4 years. It's going to be twice as radical. I mean, the second VP Harris announced price gouging as one of her policies, even the mainstream media was like,
price
what?
Gouging?
That sounds a little crazy. Stalin-esque. And this is the party that calls President Trump Hitler and all this crazy shit.
It's always like, well, you don't like my guy, so I'm gonna be mean to your guy. It's always like so fucking whiny. Like, oh no, the Democrats. Just stand by your fucking points, for Christ's sake. Is it that hard? Often, yes, it is that hard for them. Cultish. One could say cognitive dissonance, but I like to simplify it by saying cult. If you're MAGA, you're in a cult. I would love to be change-minded. Changed my mind. Why don't you? Yeah, if you disagree and you want to talk about what a cult is, I'm happy to do that, but you're not going to like it. Because as we've established before, there are some pretty interesting parallels between what one could look at the definition of a cult is and
Turkey has hijacked that.
what is not. Oh yeah, so this is so weird. there's a phenomena, if you want to use the word, where people will say a left talking point, something that you would hear a liberal person say, and then twist it to mean something that they're trying to say for the right. So this, I think, is a trad wife, basically like a person who's like trying to encourage trad wife lifestyle, which is has been an emerging theme on Instagram and YouTube for a bit now. So makes sense. It's a trending topic. Hashtagged it up thoroughly. So, kind of makes sense. But listen to how they talk about the patriarchy. Clearly don't even understand what the patriarchy is, and then just use a pretty weird term.
The patriarchy has hijacked that, and they're using us to bait the men in with all
That is the male loneliness epidemic.
that magic with the cookbooks and the perfume and the lip gloss and the eyelashes. The male loneliness epidemic is actually male patriarchy burnout.
I will let her explain, but that means nothing. What she means is the male, well, she means, okay, so the term that she's wrapping up in male, what was it? Patriarchy burnout? Male patriarchy burnout? Or was it just patriarchy burnout? Why would you say male patriarchy burnout? Point is, the term she's looking for, that the phrase that she's looking for is terminally misogynist. Hang on, I had a better, I think I had a
Let me
better
say
term.
that again. The male loneliness epidemic is actually...
Oh, okay, yeah, sorry. Outright sexism as supported by the idea that feminism hurts men or causes loneliness. So what she's trying to say is that the way that feminists treat men is what has led to the male loneliness epidemic. So let's let her say that again.
is actually male patriarchy burnout.
Male
Let me say that
patriarchy
again.
Mm.
The male loneliness epidemic is actually male patriarchy burnout. Single guys are out there working 80-hour weeks, then coming home to a terribly decorated condo with a dog, a Jeep, and a freezer full of frozen dinners.
I'm sorry. She even seems to know she made a mistake.
Of frozen dinners.
You can do another take. You can do another take. You don't have to have worked on a film. You don't have to have worked on the set of a TV show to know that you can do another take. You can stop the recording and you can wind it back and you can say, you know what, let's record over this. This is something, let's do another take because I just said frozen dinners. That's not one of those, that's gonna sound fine things. That's a, we need to do a different take thing. Perhaps whoever she press ganged into recording didn't want to rock the boat at all.
Nobody is there to caretake for the worker ants.
So if I'm going to work and then I'm coming home, that means that I'm owed a companion. Cool. Sounds fair. I'm into that.
And it makes
I
the
am a
work
man,
so much
but-
less tolerable. The patriarchy has hijacked that.
Yeah, so that was Interesting. Wait for the good guy. Girl boss. Ex-Mormon. My God.
And the big thing from last week is this whole cannabis farm.
Oh.
I thought cannabis was supposed to make you laid back. I don't ever remember throwing rocks when I was high in high school. These guys, and they're saying, oh, you're barking up the wrong tree. They have over 300 undocumented illegals, and then they have a bunch of young kids there that were working. They're out there working too. Now, hey, they're underage, undocumented immigrants. And then you got Gavin Newsom crying and saying kids are being ripped out of their parents' arms and being separated, and there was weeping and gnashing of teeth, or whatever he was coming up with. And the big thing from last week.
So let's take this at face value, okay? Let's not. I'm just a Joe Average, and I'm learning about immigration for the first time. I'm learning about pot farms for the first time.
Is this whole cannabis farm? I thought cannabis was supposed to make you laid back. I don't ever remember throwing rocks when I was high in high school.
So now this, in a vacuum, like we like to view things from the right, in a vacuum, this seems like just a poor joke. Like he was just like, oh well, I don't throw rocks when I was high. But I don't know that this necessarily relates to the story that he's telling, and nor does it really make a lot of sense. I think what he's trying to say is that the cannabis farm is throwing rocks in a glass house. What he may be talking about is an article that he's read or something, but he's expecting that the audience has already read it, which is a problem because they likely haven't, and he's kind of coming into it with context. So it doesn't make sense. It's weird. It's already jarring to hear already, just as Joe Average off the street.
These guys, and they're saying,
I'm like, okay, cannabis farms throwing rocks isn't like how people act when they're stoned.
You're barking up the wrong tree. They have over 300 undocumented.
Yeah, well, see, this is what I was going to get to. Like, he's not providing any of the context, and this was clearly the beginning of a thought, because he's like, oh, see, that one thing I was thinking about this week was, he didn't preface it, and he had a chance. I heard it. He didn't preface it. So it's like, what? I don't know anything about the farm having underage undocumented people there at all. But apparently that's what he's claiming. So
illegals, and then they have a bunch of young
people can't be illegal. I know that's like a cliche, but fuck, man, like, it's so tiring to hear that. Like, you may have done something illegal, like if you are engaging in illegal immigration, but it's just like anything else. You're not an illegal. That's literally all they're trying to do, is use a safe euphemism for Mexican, someone I don't like. That's what they're trying to say. Very clearly.
Kids there that were working. They're out there.
I love these unsubstantiated claims.
Too. Now, hey, they're underage.
And so then you take all that potentially misinformation, which might hang on one kernel of truth, and you wrap your entire argument in it
Undocumented
in a nice little
immigrants.
bow.
And then you got Gavin Newsom crying.
And then you use that as a cudgel to blame something nebulous on somebody who's complaining about monstrous things, to justify why you should disagree with him and allow those monstrous things. That's all that weird. That's that little pretzel that they've engaged in. It's very strange. Well, yeah, and we don't know that those claims are correct. He could be citing Newsmax for all we know. So who's to say, especially if you're going to make stuff up, if you're going to make one thing up, if you're going to make one little lie. See, this is why I always say that I'm like an absolutionist when it comes to those freedoms that we enjoy. Like for freedom of speech, people should be able to say that they're racist and say racist things so that we know to stay the fuck away from them, so they can oust themselves from society. I believe that in truth telling as well. Like you should just tell the truth. Like the worst it can get you is distance from society, or if you've committed a crime, which you might not end up doing if you end up telling the truth all the time, then you probably get some leniency or whatever. Like either way, if we let people tell the truth the way that they want to, meaning true acceptance for all of society, then they might tell a truth that gets them ousted from society. They might reveal that they're a shitty person, and then we can just ignore them, See, there you go. Easy. Society solved.
And saying kids are being ripped.
So, I mean, basically he's just saying that, Gavin Newsom's a piece of shit, and I'm justifying that by quantifying it with all of this information that may or may not be true. This is why I'm pointing at this stuff, and I'm saying that his previous support for someone who threw rocks now says that I should hate him because of that thing that happened. Hey, by the way, Superman is an immigrant. Go fuck yourselves. It's true. That's not even a talking point. He literally came from somewhere else, a different planet, and crash landed on Earth, and then integrated himself into society. So I don't know. I don't know where the pushback was coming from.
Hello, fellow patriot.
Hello, fellow patriots. Well, for all intents and purposes, I think there was an issue where they recognized his legal status as a U.S. citizen. Oh no, he married Lois. That's what it was. He married Lois. So whether he's a human or not, or at least they would have to establish in universe somehow, some way, that they recognize him as human in order for laws to apply to him, right? I guess maybe if they just expand the definition of citizen, that would probably be, because there's Martians and stuff, so that would have to include metahumans, Martians, beast people, Amazonians, I don't know, Themyscirians, or I don't know, refugees from apocalypse, you know what I'm saying? So I was gonna look through this guy's, yeah. I mean, I think it was like 800, as of modern day, what we would think is modern day in the DC universe, I think it was like 800, 600 years, something like that, since the first metahuman. I think Gunn says that even in Superman. Can't remember, I can't recall.
To watch them together,
Oh yeah, no, this is a guy that's anti. He says to all Democrats hate the game, not the player. I have never heard Tom Homan say anything that wasn't monstrous and evil. So let's see what he says.
On top of the success we already had, the last administration, 500,000 children were trafficked into this country.
No, he's using the word traffic to mean brought.
The last administration lost track of 300.
If the thing is, he can technically say that, because if you brought your kid into the country, and you're entering illegally, and so you brought them in illegally, then sure, yeah, you could be considered trafficking your child, but that's not the reality.
100,000. Trump's already found.
Hang on.
Trump's already found thousands of these children.
What? Found them where? See, this is the same hero worship bullshit that they did when they released that movie from Angel Pictures with that guy who is now exposed as being a fraud, but he was that dude, like the Kumite dude. Yeah, but he's like saying that he was like the only one who was like rescuing kids, but he rescued like, in the story he rescues like 2, and then over like his lifetime he says, oh, I've rescued over 40 children who have been trafficked. The fucking numbers are astronomical for the amount of trafficked children that we have saved as a nation, like just from the combined forces of the FBI, police, everything. Like just all of our law enforcement forces have saved hundreds of thousands of kids every year from trafficking. And do you know who helped put a lot of those traffickers into prison? Fucking Kamala Harris. So those people that you worship, those people that people on the right worship, they did nothing except talk a big game. I think he was even, Frank, I think is his name, but he was even like a dishonorably discharged or some shit.
Some of the children were with family members, but some of the children were in sex trafficking and forced labor.
Blatant lies, just making shit up. What does that even mean? Some of them were family members.
As a matter of fact, one person we
out of how many he personally knows this one story, at best cherry picked, which is still monstrous, but at worst he's just making it up off the top of his head, which is, again, probably, it just gets worse and worse.
Found one male had custody of over 20 migrant children, many females. And this administration allowed that to happen.
What? Again, every year, the combined forces of the police, FBI, Homeland Security save, and even the military, like in military operations, save hundreds of thousands of often children from trafficking. So saying that Trump is like the only guy doing it, is just fucking weird. But saying that like it wasn't going on elsewhere, and then backing it up with some poor ass numbers, come on, man, you can do better. Actually, no, you can't. Everything I've heard him say is stupid as shit.
President Trump and myself are not going to be satisfied till we find every single child.
I think we all know that that is probably true, according to that girl's testimony from the Epstein stuff. Gross. And gross to you, sir. I'm sorry I will not be able to react to Bondi shutting down Senator Pat Murray, but I can tell you, she's getting a fair little share of her own stuff going on. So since we're in the last half hour of the stream, I didn't necessarily want to cut it off early, but I also don't necessarily want to get started on a call. I am down to take one if you think you can probably get a point out in 30 minutes, but instead, what I think I am finally going to spend the last half hour talking about is just my experience with Superman. That's it. Easy peasy. Good lead out, you know, relaxing, keeping it maxing, keeping it relaxing, keeping it all cool and shooting some b-ball outside of school. Oh, but then there are a couple of guys. Oh, they were up to no good. They started making trouble in my neighborhood. Where was I? So I went to see Superman. It was, I guess, probably the first superhero movie that I had seen. And then I slapped Chris Rock. You know, I'm pretty sure he's a Scientologist. I think he says that he's not a Scientologist, but I feel like he is. You know? I think he's a Scientologist. I think he's a level S10. Don't know what, Will Smith. Because there have been like a lot of allegations towards that, but I think he said he was something closer to like Jehovah's Witness, which is still a bit culty. Their brochure is literally called The Trap. So, Pretty weird. Pretty weird. So, Superman. I did like it. I think that there's a couple factors at play in my forming of an opinion about the new James Gunn film, Superman. I have no previous familiarity with David Corenswet, I believe is how you say his name. I think he's a British actor. I might have seen him in something British, but then he could have just been an American actor being in a British thing. You know, that happens all the time. We have a good cultural exchange program with American and English actors, so that relationship is going very well right now. If any English agents see this, and you can get a hold of Matsukas' agent, because I don't know how the fuck he got on Taskmaster, but I want some of that juice. Give me some of that. Get my writing in front of people. If you're watching, do it. Do it now. Do it before I get too old to write, because at some point I won't be able to see what I'm typing anymore, okay? And then it's gonna be writing single letters on 8x11 pieces of paper for me, which I can do, but it's gonna take a lot longer to write a script that way. I was gonna look something up and then completely forgot what. Was it something about James Gunn? No. So this is like sort of the first proper, like Blue Beetle was kind of the first little like test entry of James Gunn as like an executive producer within the new DCU, but it wasn't, I don't think that's going to end up being a thing that they continue. I think that that's like kind of just a one and done sort of thing. And Aquaman 2 has not really any continuity. They've completely successfully cut themselves off, and I think they're using Peacemaker to show that this is just a completely new universe, because I think that's they're good, the bridge from the previous thing, because they have to explain, obviously the nerds out there are going to ask them to explain why Peacemaker saw the Justice League at the end of season 1. You know, they're gonna post online about it. They're gonna be, and James Gunn is nothing if not vehemently against people like talking shit about his story, like his plot line. Like, no, it's, what is it? It's more he wants the fans to not expect and to really be anticipating like something big and something like meaningful. And yeah, I don't know. He doesn't like backlash. He doesn't like people like talking about theorizing. I remember him saying that he didn't like doing post-credit scenes, even though this one had 2. Though they weren't, I think what he more meant was that he didn't like post-credit scenes that have important story elements in them. So that makes more sense. Anywho, so the last one that I had seen was the last entry that I had seen in the DC universe, movie-wise, had been Blue Beetle, and I think that was the last. I think that was sort of the last hurrah. Or maybe it was Shazam. I don't remember. I don't remember which one was last. But I feel like kind of gunned out, I guess, is sort of the phrase I keep going back to. I'm kind of gunned out, because I mean I've been there since, you know, Slither. I mean, Trauma like is a huge like I would never have watched my first horror movie if I hadn't first watched Toxic Avenger, the Toxic Avenger cartoon, and then the Toxic Avenger movie. I watched it accidentally and I loved it. And then I started looking at other Trauma stuff, Romeo and Juliet, and then I got into horror. James Gunn started over at Trauma. I don't know if he did his student film there, but he might have. But anyway, it's been a long ride for the guy, and he only really got famous for doing like fluffy raccoon and tree superhero pals, which is like, I guess, I mean, you know, it would have happened eventually, because he's a talented guy and he makes good stuff. So regardless of when the fame hit, it would have hit, just like, you know, all the people that kind of deserve that stuff. But I think in that long career, and I hate to say this because it sounds like a criticism, it's really not. It's really more of a reverential description of this phenomenon, but it is a phenomenon. What happens is, how did I put this the other day? I was really concise about it. So directors and creators of all levels and experiences and skill levels and whatnot, all skill and experience levels, like, and I'm talking about directors, I'm talking about even down to like makeup artists, like writers, whatever, like everything, you know, in the whole production side of things. Everyone is thinking about becoming the next equivalent of their hero, whether that be like Coppola or Scorsese or, you know, Feige from the MCU, or like Gunn from, you know, here. And so they're going to gravitate creatively towards the style of their perceived mentor, the person that they're trying to emulate. And some people, not necessarily people that are untalented, but some people who rely a little bit more on inspiration to develop things are going to start adopting more and more of those mannerisms. And I would argue that there's the majority of those types of people than there are the ones who are actually the next Coppolas and Scorseses and things like that, who would typically fight against the tide, not necessarily like, you know, create conflict within a production, but push back on ideas and encourage, you know, a bit more of a free thought, or like debate sessions on like story elements, things like that, like really roundtable, collaborative, open stuff. And it's easy to say like, no, you're the expert, what you thought is probably the best. It's easy to say stuff like that when you're in the presence of your hero. So when these guys were coming up, there didn't happen to be a lot of the presences. At the time, like Troma was around, Coppola was making films, you know, and Scorsese was making the hits, the ones that we now refer to as classics that we watch in film, you know, schools to gain reference for what we should and shouldn't do. But what it's created is a homogenization and ultimately sanitization of the creative process in terms of movie and film. The way that that's translated into the way that I see the Gunn universe is that he's been around a long time, he's created a lot, and he's engendered a lot of support by people who want to be just like him, who want to have their careers turn out just like him, become as skilled as him, innovative in whatever they're... I'm sorry, I'm trying to like spin the wheels on my chair. It's the only way I can get my wheels to go right. But so like they get into these programs, so all of a sudden the whole film company is full of people who just want to do things the James Gunn way. And while that's a good thing in terms of his freedom of creativity, it's bad in the sense that perhaps he may not be challenged as he used to be when he was still in the middle of things, you know. And not to say that he's not in the middle of things, but what I mean is like in the middle tier, when he was not, you know, world famous and looked up to by a bunch of, you know, fledgling creators, and certainly not at the bottom. So, you know, his voice helped shape an entire section of the industry, but now that section of the industry is just him, and it's just his style. Well, yeah, I mean, I think Star Wars suffers from too much internal conflict. I don't think there's really a cohesive vision for the many creators that are in the Star Wars universe, including the classic ones. You know, like, yeah, like even the original cut had to be edited into oblivion because the original way that Lucas did it was more like a war drama, and it didn't play. And his wife came in and edited it, and that's how we got the Star Wars that we did today. I think there were still several passes over it, but like when he finally saw that, and he saw people in his home theater at Lucas Ranch going like, "This is so good," he was like, all right, we can do it that way. I wonder if the original cut is still out there somewhere. Perhaps. It's in that big warehouse, the Indiana Jones warehouse, I bet you. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of how I feel about the whole sort of universe. And it's not like, I don't think that I have the burnout that you feel with poorly developed stories like some of the ones that Marvel has come out with. Oh yeah, no, that the debacle over the prequels is, yeah, that totally fits. Just everyone, yep, you're the king, yep, everyone, and which is one of the reasons why our government is so fucked up right now. Everyone, yep, you're dude, yep, yo, you're the guy, whoa, hey. That is how despots are born. But yeah, so I kind of feel like, and that's really how I feel about the MCU. It's been how I felt. It's been how I felt about the MCU since like Miss Marvel. When I saw, I realized how disappointed I was about the way that Miss Marvel was kind of all over the place and disjointed and just whatever, you know. Ugh. Yeah, I mean, we grow from challenges. Like, we grow from being challenged in our thoughts and our behaviors and our like practices, whatever. Like, that's how we learn and stuff. Like, and challenges can be anything. Challenges can be overcoming the injury of our hand getting burnt from when we touch the stove. Like, that can be a challenge. It's some trauma that we have to overcome and process, and it's bad enough that we're probably never going to do it again. So, yeah. With Superman, I guess I don't know. He was never really one of my favorite heroes, but Superboy rather was my intro into comics, more or less. It was actually the first issue of a comic I ever read was his 95 issue. It was his coming out issue where he was right after the death of Superman, where they had the Supermans, all the reign of the Supermen. They had that, and then Superboy kind of went off on his own and just started doing Superboy stuff. And I found it in a stack of Diamond Comics Distributing. I don't know what that is. So I had a stack of just random comics, and I saw Superboy on the cover. He looked pretty cool. He was all like, you know, had a leather jacket with like fingerless motorcycle gloves. I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. All right. I'll read this one. Oh, went bankrupt. Okay, well. Diamond, was that Garth Ennis? Like, did he do a lot of the stuff for... Oh, well, there you go. Venom magazine, what? Oh, they're a comic distribution. Okay, gotcha. Oh, damn, that sucks. That's fucked. See? That's capitalism for you. That's fucked up. How can they do that? Like, what is the claim that they're making? That it's like their property? Because they're a holding, like if you're a holding logistics company, then you have to take custody of the things that enter your warehouse, which means you take ownership over it. Custody. I think that they're probably claiming custody. My guess. There's like probably some loophole that they're using, like some arbitration or arbitrage. It's like arbitrate, like a chain of, like there's some probably custody claims and like saying some shit about arbitrage. I don't know. I wanted to get into that stuff, but it seems like you kind of have to scam people. Not scam people, but you kind of have to like make some shady deals. So things that I saw in Superman that I would like to see more of are the spoiler stuff. You know, there were two elements towards the end of the movie that I would like to see more of. And then I heard that there's also a Clayface movie coming out. That'd be cool. But I would have liked to... I don't think that it ever would have happened But if it's just something that they're trying to like sort of sneak in or advertise, it would have been cool to see like a hint of that. Like, I don't know, like maybe an element that raises a question. Like in the first Ant-Man, you saw Chronopolis in that little like snow globe looking thing. I don't remember what they called it in Quantumania, but I don't know, some like little distant thread. You know, it could have been like maybe one of the news reporters at the Daily Planet, like a little thing sloughs off of her cheek, and like it doesn't explain anything. There's no context. It could have been makeup. It could have been anything. But you know, that's those who know. You know, if you know, those who know if you know. And Gunn likes to do a lot of like hidden shit like that. So I don't know. I felt like maybe that would have been one of the things that I saw those Easter egg hunters looking for. But I don't think that there's any of that in the movie. Lex was great. He was kind of, I think, perhaps test audiences didn't quite know who Lex Luthor was, and so he did a lot of like, I'm Lex Luthor and I do a lot of this. I'm doing a lot of this and I'm gonna do this because that's the kind of guy I am. So he was arch a lot, and I get that it's a comic book movie. But I think Nicholas Hoult does a good enough job portraying the writing sort of without having to say, I'm Lex Luthor and I do this. You know? It was fine. It was fine. It was fine. I if that's the only criticism that I have about his performance, then I think that's fine. He was a very comic book accurate, I believe, Lex Luthor. And it took the angle that the Golden Age, because I think that's kind of his whole, well, it wasn't necessarily exposition. It was more like, you see, I've come up with this method of plugging fighting styles into his brain that I'm now using on you. I'm gonna do this and then I'm gonna do that. You know, like he's just more, way more Lex Luthor than he needed to be, but it was totally fine for the setting. And when they finally have a confrontation, you know, when things come to a head and you know, they're in the same room together, it plays perfectly. So yeah, he was the most human Lex Luthor that I've ever seen, and I think that is mostly comic book accurate because at his very core, Lex is just a hurt individual, and he eventually becomes good, and he eventually, like, although he becomes really, really, really bad before he becomes good several times. He forgets Superman's identity, and then he knows Superman's identity. It's 100 years of comics. How are you gonna have continuity for everything? That's why the universe resets every now and again. Yeah, Magneto is like he's the guy who sees the big picture and is willing to do the thing that the superheroes aren't in order to get that thing done, especially when he's on the good side, which is what kind of makes him such a questionable hero. But from about Dark Universe, from I think the Dark Universe on, he was better. He was like a good guy for the most part. Yeah, because when Final Crisis came, he was a good guy. So the thing that I love about Spider-Man's by far my favorite hero of all the heroes. It's just the fact that he says it could have been anyone under the mask. Like that's but when Octavius took over his body, he got into a fight with the Lizard, and he punched him so hard that he knocked his jaw clean off. And not the Lizard, Scorpion. Yeah, Scorpion, I believe. Knocked his jaw clean off. And he spent like almost the rest of the issue like just having an existential crisis over the fact that Spider-Man this whole time has been pulling his punches on all the street level baddies. And it kind of, that was when the spark of goodness was lit in him. Who's to say? It could have been, perhaps it was there all along. Perhaps Octavius was never really evil. Perhaps Peter had like a soul and it like infected Octavius, turning him good. But by the end of his journey, regardless of the things that he would say, because he would say like, you know, oh, just leave them to die, you know, oh, well, I think that our logic says that we should probably do this. Despite all that, he was pretty good at being Spider-Man, the superior Spider-Man, if you will. So that was a real cool. And in the Spider-Geddon, I think it was Spider-Geddon 2, Spider-Geddon 1 maybe, with Flood. What was it? Not Flood. Chasm. With Chasm. Yeah, that was the meeting of, I think, Superior Spider-Man and Peter Parker from the current, not the current, but like after the universe reset, after, what was it? Maybe the Ultimate Universe came back or something like that. I don't remember, but whatever the point is, there was some like cataclysmic event, and then Spider-Geddon happened, and Superior Spider-Man met Peter Parker, the modern Peter Parker, and it was pretty cool. Pretty awesome. Because it's him in the future, so he essentially learned that his oh no, that arc, ooh, it's getting spicy. It's getting real good. The Ultimates is a good one to tie in, so definitely if you get a chance to read the Ultimates, the arc that ties into this one, fuck man, like that's some crazy shit. And if you haven't, you might want to catch up on Oblivion and the new Cosmic Entities, because that'll be useful. Because otherwise you're going to be like, why is this person there? What's the point of this? But it'll make sense if you lead up to it. But yeah, so he knew at that point when he met future Peter Parker that at some point his consciousness would regain control again. Like would regain control. So he chose to live out the rest of whatever days he had left until Peter Parker came back without like, I don't think he tried to like transfer his body or anything like that. He was just like, I'm gonna stay the Superior Spider-Man. I don't remember how his story ended. He died at some point. I think during Spider-Geddon. Oh no, Chasm shot him with that ghost gun. I think shot him with a ghost shotgun, or stabbed him with a knife or something like that, and that it removes like whatever happened to you, or I don't remember what it like, heals your soul. Anyway, the point is, Peter Parker's consciousness came back to his body, and I don't think that Octavius's consciousness like did anything. I think it just kind of went away, but I'm not sure. I don't remember. It's been a while since I heard about like the last parts of his story or whatever. I don't. When did that end? I think that had to have been just before the Dan Slott run. My brain's not working. Anyway, so yeah, Superman was good. I think if I didn't like anything about it, it was really just the fact that it's just this like the gun formula, and it just feels so like such a lived-in thing, which could be an argument that supports, you know, the fact that it's a sort of golden age revival, but it's just good. It's just good, you know. It's not like, it's not, oh, you know, it's a great movie, it's gonna be one that I watch like 1,000 times, it's gonna be something that I look into the lore of. It's really just like, huh, that was a pretty good movie experience. You know, but maybe that's my recent disillusion again speaking, you know. I don't know. I would recommend that you see it ideally in the theaters, because the music's good. It's like, it's reminiscent of, I knew he would do this too. It's like reminiscent of the Snyder and the Donner, or not Donner, well, John Williams. I keep forgetting his name. DJ something. I don't remember what it was. DJ Tracks or DJ Wet or DJ something. Who did the Man of Steel theme? So it's that, and then sort of the John Williams, and then sort of James Gunn's own little arrangement of it. So it was good. Music was good. Cast was good. Cast was great. Jimmy Olsen is a stud, and he hates it, and I love it. Lois is great. Assertive as Lois is in the comics, very comic accurate. I think the thing that I could say about this is that maybe I'm so bored with it because it feels exactly like a Superman comic. That I think is I think the best compliment that I can give it, and also the most harsh criticism that I can give it, that it was at its best or at its worst boring because it felt so accurate to the feel of a comic book. I would say that that's a pretty good compliment, you know? I think that puts more points in the it's awesome category than it does in the it stinks category. So ultimately it was a great movie. I even just said it was a great movie. I didn't even say it was a great movie before I said it was a good movie. Mr. Terrific, probably arguably the best character in the entire movie. Nathan Fillion though was really clawing for the scene most of the time. Lois calls his hair stupid. Guy Gardner, oof, such a douchebag. Perfect role for Nathan Fillion. Good, and he's gonna be in Peacemaker, so. I would like to see a Beast Boy. I would like to see a fully grown Titans team. I'd like to see a fully grown Titans team. And I would like to see them expand the universe. I'm excited for what comes next. I think. Which one is next? Which one is that? Let us find out. What movie is next in the DCU? That's not the movie. It says Peacemaker Season 2. The first DCU movie in 2026 will be Supergirl. Budge, yes. And Teen Titan, that's coming out. Yes, that's gonna be the next one. Okay. So now, okay, so I'm pretty hyped, I would say. That is that puts a smile on my face. That's cool. I just said that was what I wanted to see. Ah, that's so cool. Okay. I'm into it. Metamorpho was great. Other things I can't say because it'll give too much away, but it was a good movie, and now I'm excited for the further stuff. So there you go. I would say it's a ringing endorsement. Disney, get a hold of me. Just give me money, I guess. I don't know, or a job that works. Anyway, it is 2 o'clock. I appreciate you sticking around. If you stuck around, I appreciate you joining. If you joined, I'm Goose. If you could like and subscribe, that would be awesome. I appreciate that. People don't do that anymore, and I get it. I understand that it's not the funnest thing to hit the buttons that help you engage with the stuff, but that's my latest hurdle. That's the last thing I need to get over in order to have a fully fledged channel. So I just would love for people to participate or engage. That's what it's called, engagement. Please and thank you. I appreciate it so much. Decent stream. So we'll get someone to call in at some point. There's gonna be someone who disagrees with me so much that they're gonna want to get in on the call. It'll happen. Just gotta keep doing the thing, and saying the things, and watching the things, and that's how it'll. I didn't say anything just then. That was all just a bunch of words. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day. If it is cool where you are, go get some sun. But if it's like it is where I am, it's probably too hot for the dogs to walk on the pavement. So it's too hot to hang out, unfortunately. All right. Have a wonderful day. I have been Goose. Thank you so much. Tomorrow's Work Wednesday. Haven't figured out what I'm playing yet, but probably Against the Storm. Still deep into that game. Loving it. All right. Have a good one.